Now, if you ever wanted a Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, you probably couldn't have one because it didn't exist. There weren't a lot of options. That is until one day, the Gogeta Nation attacked. Kamione announced their Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And then a few days later, Demon Alpha Fit announced their Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And before we even had a chance to think, both of them went up for sale. What do they think? We're made of money or something? So I bought both versions. Today, we're kicking off this special 3-part Gogeta series with Kamione. And we're gonna see what this figure brings to the table before we get to the Demon Alpha Fit one. So let's get started. This is the third time I said I wasn't gonna buy both versions, and then I end up buying both versions. I have so many unopened boxes. I said I was only gonna get the matte one, but then this glossy iridescent one was released, and I couldn't pass it up. I just want everything to be glossy and iridescent and just colorful and shiny. I like color, and I'm gonna give you guys a tip. If they announce something for pre-order, do not pre-order it the day they announce the pre-order, because then if we go back to the LS Studio Gohan where everybody pre-ordered it and then they canceled it, and we want to avoid that, right? As soon as they announced the prototypes, I knew I had to have both of them, so I did. This is Roof 3A and 3B. This is by Kamione, and don't tell me it's pronounced Kami1, because Kamione already came out on social media and said that it is pronounced Kamione. I wasn't saying this for fun, okay? Normally I would say Kami1, but out of respect for the company that has been making incredible sets of figures, I will have to honor their wishes and call them by their name, Kamione. How much did I pay? Instead of guessing what I paid, I'm just gonna look up my order. Why does AliExpress keep signing me out? I bought this for $132. The retail price was actually $142, so it went from 142 to 132. Divide that by 2. What's 132 divided by 2? Calculator? That's $66 for each figure. That's not bad at all. Right now, the cheapest one I can find it for is $78 for the iridescent version, $98 for the solid color version. You know, after doing this for a while, it gets kind of exhausting for all of these stores to raise the prices, and it's practically impossible for you to find it at a decent price after it's gone for sale. I think that's ridiculous. It's getting annoying. It's actually annoying. So I'll link that below, and hopefully you guys can get this at a decent price. Going back to the figure, this is my first Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta figure. Now everybody decided to do a Gogeta, so in honor of Gogeta, I've decided to make a 3-part video. We're gonna focus today on Kamione's. The next video is gonna be Demon Alpha Fit, and then we're gonna compare both of them to see which one is worth your money. So if you're gonna be spending your money on something, it better be something that you find worth it. With that said, let's get started and see what Kamione offers. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. We have 2 options today, 03A and 03B. I'm gonna be very honest, the iridescent one was my first choice. So this comes with 2 boxes, some sort of resemblance to Wolverine, which is crazy because they're doing this design so they can bypass the copyright infringement, but they're using another copywritten character to bypass the copyright infringement. What's the idea there? The solid version looks really nice, but everybody's going for the solid version. So I'm gonna go ahead and open the iridescent version because I don't see that one as often. Why is this tail straight? Oh, is it wired? So let's go over everything that's in here. We have 8 sets of hands, 2 fighting stance hands, 2 big bang hands, 2 extended finger key blast hands, 2 bent finger key blast hands, another set of extended finger key blast hands, 2 fists, and 2 open hands. This is another accessory that it comes with. It is the playful Gogeta. Wasted attack against Omega Shenron. I would think Gogeta would be the serious one and Vegito was the playful one. I want you to take a look at how shiny these pants are. There is some sort of blue sheen to them. The overall paint coverage is beautiful, and I do like how it contrasts with this blue and the red. This tail is already shaped into a curve, so this is a pretty packed accessory box. This one only has 6 faces, so let's go over them. Silly Gogeta, open mouth screaming Gogeta, taunting smiling Gogeta, smiling teeth gritting Gogeta, smiling face Gogeta, and serious face Gogeta. We have the croissants. They're glossy. I thought they were going to be iridescent. And then we have the most interesting part of this entire set, this big bang Kamehameha. It attaches to this stand right here. Let's look over this hair. This hair is orange. One of the issues that I did see a lot of people pointing out is that the bangs are super small for this Gogeta. Gogeta is supposed to have big hair. This was the 90s. Big hair was the standard. I guess their solution, instead of throwing away all of the prints that they had already had, they just added this bang that does increase the volume of the hair by a lot. If you hold this up to the light, it does look like a pink translucent color. Overall, it's not bad. It's slightly pink though. So let's put this all together and see what Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta version B looks like. I feel like this isn't right. You're kidding me. You're kidding me. Did this break? Okay, no, I just have to glue it in. Oh my gosh. I was about to have a panic attack. Let's put everything together. I don't know why they decided to go with Wolverine. It's just a very interesting head mold, but let's get rid of it because that's not what we bought it for. That was hard. As I'm putting this together, I'm going to tell you guys a story about my first experience with Dragon Ball GT. It was a while after the Buu saga had ended, so this was like 2004. I would watch Dragon Ball after school. They would have Toonami every 3 o'clock, 3:30. They would start with Yu Yu Hakusho. I remember that Yu Yu Hakusho was always before Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z ended. Dragon Ball GT took over. When we got to the point where they started doing home releases, for those who don't know, back in my day, we had tapes. And so the VHS releases came out with the Gogeta episodes. They did the fusion. That was the episode that I had. Dragon Ball GT Funimation dub is notorious for having some of the corniest dialogue in the entire series. One of the corniest lines in the entire show happens to be when Vegeta turns into a great ape. He grabs Goku and starts squeezing him, and Goku starts yelling. He goes like, Vegeta! Vegeta! Nice way to emote, Sean Schemmel. I am the Prince of all Saiyans. I can never allow my reason to be overpowered by the primal mind. It was so corny, and I'll never forget that. I am the Prince of all Saiyans. I can never allow.
I am the Prince of all Saiyans. I could never allow my reason to be overpowered by the primal mind.
It's so stupid. Immediately after Vegeta turns into a Super Saiyan 4, he starts recommending fusion, which is completely out of character for Vegeta. Like at this point, Vegeta was a family man. He wanted to go shopping with Bulla so bad that he was willing to give up his pride and just go straight into fusion. So let's go over these faces. One of the things I don't like about Tonsin and Kamione is that their heads are very oddly shaped. Let's look at this one, for example. So the face looks nice. It's not a bad face, but there's something about the way the forehead to cheek to jaw is sculpted. The forehead looks so much bigger than the jawline. There's like a curve right here, and then you go into the inner curve for the cheek. It's so unique. You know what? This is what I would do. I would flatten those cheeks, make the face a little bit wider. Eyes are so big. I would widen that mouth a little bit more. I would widen that chin a little bit more as well, just to give you a visualization of what I'm imagining in my mind, what I would do. So let's go back to the video. We're back. Hi. Did you like that? I think I'm going to start doing that more because I need you guys to be on the same page as I am. One thing about these Kamione faces is that they're secure. They're not going anywhere. I can admit when I'm wrong. I love this look. I love the style of this face on this hair. You can't even see the forehead. It's covered by the hair. There's so many colors in this hair, but it does make sense because the iridescent pants just tie everything together. I love the pants. This is such a good face. Next face. Screaming Gogeta also looks good. And you know what it is? I think the size of the hair kind of balances everything out. I think the bigger hair helped. Let's try the small hair and then we're going to do a comparison side by side. And then you're going to tell me if you agree that the big hair makes it look better. The small hair gives it the classic Kamione Tonsin look, which means like big face, big eyes, small hair. I think the big hair really just rounds everything out and makes everything proportionate. Do you agree? Let me know. Pause the video right now. Tell me right now. Are we on the same page? Are we? Let me know. Though the eyebrows are almost touching the hair, it doesn't make it look like there's a two head. It just gives it that classic smiling face. And what if I said this is my favorite face? I love how cartoony it looks. This expression is so Akira Toriyama. I love the goofiness and the fun. The tongue is so pink and vibrant, and the pupils are smaller, which is unusual for Kamione. I think this might be my favorite face out of the bunch. It looks 2D, and that's not a complaint. It looks amazing because the colors are so vibrant and flat. This might be one of the best figures Kamione has ever released. I think this is their magnum opus. I don't know if they made the pupils smaller. This is one of the best faces I've ever seen from Kamione, period. I don't want to say it's incredibly close to the anime, but I want to say it gives off that same vibe. I wish the jaw was a little bit more squared and not as pointy on the chin. I think what throws it off is the thinner jawline. So this face, again, my complaint has to do with the chin. You know what it is? Now thinking about it, I think the chin is very similar to the earlier Z, lowest born Saiyan Z, 24,000 power level Vegeta, Frieza Saga, Saiyan Saga, back when they used to add a little bit of a curve to the chin, because by this point there was no curves to the chin and it was very thick, and that's what's throwing me off. But this angle with the shadows, oh, it looks amazing. Even though we already know what Kamione provides in terms of articulation, I think we should go over it still because I want to see what the limits are. Okay, all right. I went on Instagram and I had to ask because the forearms were sticking out a little too much for my enjoyment. I was told on Instagram by one of my followers that I needed to heat up the forearms. And once I did, they popped right in and now there's no gap. There used to be a gap right here separating the forearms with this joint and now it looks correct. Starting with the head, there is 4 points of articulation with the hair. There's the right side and then the left side. Can you twist them? No, that's it. So it does give you space to move the head. And then you have these 2 pieces of hair. It's actually very similar to the Super Vegito 4. This one has almost the same points of articulation. Actually, if not literally the same points of articulation. So it does have these 2 and then it has the same 2 for the front that you can bring over here. A lot of people said it was big. It looked like a Dragon Stars figure. I feel like the proportions work. So it's very similar to the points of articulation in terms of the hair. I feel like the Kamione hair lays on the body better. I don't really like how the Super Saiyan 4 Vegito hair kind of floats on top of the chest. I think Kamione does this a lot better. So looking up, you can't look up at all. In fact, if you try to look up, the face starts to come off. So there's not really that much range. Even though this thing can be moved, there's really not much to do here. Let's move on to the arms. You get 360 movement. That's perfect. I love that the croissant is separate, so it has its own point of articulation. You can move it up, move it to the side. You can pretty much do anything with it. I feel like these croissants are better than the last release. It lays on the shoulders a lot better than the last release. We do have the double jointed elbows. And they do have really good range, typical Kamione. And then we have the wrist pegs. I don't like how the black absorbs a lot of oil. I just washed my hands too. I don't like this type of material because the oil stains are very present. You can see when you have oily hands. Let's check the butterfly joint. Oh, that's nice. Have they always been able to do this? Because I don't remember having this much range. They don't necessarily touch, but I don't think they need to when they go towards the back. But this is nice. Now we go into the ab crunch. We're going down. Pretty moderate ab crunch. I like that. Now let's bring it up. The ab crunch in itself is actually pretty good. This waistband is also articulated right here. Not that much, but it's flexible enough to get you some really nice poses. You can actually separate this part a little bit more. I'm not sure what material this is, but it's super malleable. Now let's move on to the waist. Can it move? It does a full 360 rotation right there, and it's very nice. There's a lot of movement here, and it's fluid. It's not stiff at all. All right, so let's start with this leg and lift it up. You get a lot of height with this leg. Obviously you get the double jointed knee, super stiff, very incredibly stiff. The shin is also articulated. This is something that I wish Tamashii Nations would implement on their own. It does make the leg more dynamic. Oh my gosh, this leg is so stiff. Now let's point this toe. This is gonna be a good toe. That's a nice toe. It's a nice toe. Why is everything so stiff here? Anyway, this toe is very stiff. Now let's move towards the back. Yes. Okay, this knee is a little bit better than the other one. This is a very nice articulated leg. There's just a single ball joint that connects the butt to the tail. Now that we've gotten this out of the way, let me open up the solid color one just to give it a quick comparison and see what we get there. There is a difference in the faces. I thought it was going to be the same ones, but as you can see, this is version A and this is version B. There is a difference in the outlines of the eyes. Version B has red outlines on the eyes. Version A has black outlines, and the difference is minuscule. It's so minimal that you can hardly notice, but the red on the A version is a little bit deeper. I feel like there's better contrast in version A. Version A is the solid color. Version B is the iridescent color. Version A has so much more contrast. I feel like it really brings out the blue in the eyes. For the iridescent version, the skin tone kind of loses its intensity with the hair. Oh no. Imagine if I had chosen B. And see, the thing is, I like both, but the contrast in version A, it's winning for me right now. There's even a difference in skin tones. I feel like the skin tone in version B is a lot more orange, a little bit more yellow than it is in version A. The other difference has to do with the actual effect. This is the effect for version A, and this is the effect for version B. There's a slight opaqueness to version B, and it's more iridescent. Personally, I prefer version A because I love translucent blues. They remind me of water. The same goes for this little key blast effect. Now the other difference comes with the body, so I'm going to put that together off camera and then we're going to bring them both in. We're back after 30 minutes of trying to put everything back on. Now having these side by side, I'm just gonna say the solid color one is the most expensive option right now on AliExpress. The solid color is my personal favorite, and it's not because of nostalgia or anything. I just feel like the colors are so much more harmonious than the iridescent one. The contrast of the hair with the skin, everything looks separate. The iridescent one just looks like there's an aura around it, which I'm sure was the intention because it is based on the fighters. There is some sort of glowing aura to it, which is crazy how they were able to transmit that into like a physical toy. But version A just has the essence of Gogeta. It has the color scheme from the anime. The hair just looks great as a solid color. There's very slight shading. It's not as present as version B. There is some sort of blue tint in the pants. It reminds me a lot of the Full Power Frieza and the very slight blue shading that they gave it, and it seems to be present here too. And everything seems to be matte. Maybe I should just stop saying I don't really like matte, because I end up liking a lot of the matte figures that I end up getting. I do feel like the contrast in the eyes is more present in version A. Version B kind of loses its whiteness in the eye because of the outline, and that causes the white to not look as white. The black outline helps contrast that white, and it brings out the blue in the eye. Just to make the long story short, I prefer version A. I think it's my favorite, but let's see which one looks better in the posing session. All right, let's do final thoughts. This actually might be one of Kamione's best releases so far. This effect is what gives the release a little bit more of a presence. It makes the package feel heavier, and it gives it more of a display value. This, I think, is one of the best things to come out of this purchase. Now, for me, the price worked out really well. I actually got both of these versions for about $138 total, so roughly around $66 per figure. And at that price, I think this is a great deal for what you're getting. The articulation, as we know, it's Kamione. It's very good. It's excellent, actually. I didn't have any major QC issues with mine. My main issue mostly had to do with the face sculpt, and that's just a preference issue. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that I feel like the face is too narrow. Kamione still feels stuck in the older style, and that's not really my favorite. That said, I do think that the bigger eyes work in this case. The pupils tie this look together. Now, between both versions, version A is the anime color version, and version B is the FighterZ color version. Version B has that iridescent finish, and it really gives the figure an aura, like an actual physical aura. It feels as if this figure is glowing. The hair is lighter, it's slightly on the pink side with an orange finish, and the red on the body looks really good. The pants are probably my favorite part of this version just because of that two-tone blue. But overall, I prefer version A. The solid colors give it more of a contrast, and it makes everything pop a little bit more. The darker lines around the eyes actually help the eyes stand out, while version B has lighter lines around the eyes, and it kind of takes away that contrast. The only downside overall has nothing to do with Kamione itself. It's the sellers. Every single time a version starts getting more attention, the price starts going up, and I hate that. It's getting really annoying to see sellers raise the price once they realize that people prefer one version over the other. So if you can still find version A for a good price, I personally think that's the one you should go for. I'm gonna try to link it down below at the lowest price that I can find. So overall, I think Kamione did a really good job with this release. I love this Gogeta so much. It has a strong articulation because that's usually a Kamione's thing. And for the price I paid for, I'm very happy with it. Now, this is part 1 of the Gogeta series. Next, we're going to take a look at Demon Alco Fit's version. And then in part 3, we're going to put them against each other to see which one is worth buying over the other. If you guys are interested in watching another comparison I have between Demon Alco Fit and Kamione, you guys can check out the Gogeta comparison right here. Also, I have the Tonson Trunks and Demon Alco Fit comparison, so that's 2 videos that you can watch right here. And then stay tuned because I will be coming back with more. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.